Hello, I'm Wanda Wen. Thank you for coming to the Sulip Fix. Today, I wanted to walk through a wrap of a wine bottle, and I'm actually on my way to an 80th birthday party of this fine young man, and I bought a nice bottle of wine for him, and we're just going to give it a dress up, okay? So what I have is a piece of beautiful matte gold tissue. I love using tissue on the inside of a paper lining. I love the crunchy sound. It just adds a little bit more texture and a little bit more tactile. And then I'm going to wrap the bottle in this beautiful, very fibrous paper. It's a Japanese paper. It kind of reminds me of a winter sweater in a way. I just love the fibers and I love the colors. The amalgam of colors is really special. It's very sophisticated, just like this person. First I have to measure the paper. So I'm gonna layer this tissue on top of the decorative paper. Because I love this beautiful deckled edge, I'm gonna leave this just because I love the organic nature of it. And this is a handmade paper. This is ultimately going to be my top edge, all right? So I'm just going to measure it, make sure that I cut enough paper to wrap around this bottle. So what I'm doing is I'm eyeballing the tip of this bottle to the top of what will be the end paper. And I want to give it a nice little excess. So I'm just going to roll it loosely just so I can measure. And then I'm going to cut right here. Bottles don't really use that much paper. So you can see how I've kept both layers together and I'm cutting them simultaneously because essentially I am going to wrap both papers as if they're one. This is my excess. Definitely not going to discard this because there's a lot of paper here that is very usable. So now I have this. You can see that I have quite a bit of excess on the bottom. Okay, so this will be my top, the bottom. We're going to cut here. You'll see that I'll be doing a pleated circular wrap on the bottom. And so the measurement to have on the bottom is about 3/4 of the diameter, generally. Now this I wouldn't throw away either because you could make a card out of this. You can do lots of things with this. So I'm just going to keep this over here. Perfect. Because this has this beautiful edge, I'm going to make this the edge that is on the outside, and that's what's going to show. I'm going to actually first put some double stick tape on that end portion. I'm hoping this works. This bottle has a slight angled shape, so it just makes the wrapping a hair bit more challenging, but we'll see. So I'm gonna keep this tight, I'm gonna roll it, and this has double stick tape on the end. And you can see how now this beautiful edge is what's showing. How to deal with this. I'm gonna push this towards the bottom a little bit. And then I'm going to basically just take my pointer finger and hold it as I pleat over the paper on top of itself. It takes a little bit of practice. Putting a piece of double stick tape. Very important that you tape the bottom, otherwise, you know what would happen? The bottle would come out. And that has happened to me before. So, really important to tape the bottom. So the neck of the bottle, I'm going to wrap my hands around. Like, listen to that tissue. That's why I love putting tissue. I know, I get excited over the silliest things. So now, I'm gonna take seam binding. I love using seam binding. I love it because the colors available in seam binding are amazing. They're subtle, they're very sophisticated, and it's also really inexpensive seam binding. That's why I love it. Okay, so I'm going to just wrap this a few times. And I chose this color because I love the color palette, this muted, mossy greens with the gold tissue and then this taupe color, just beautiful together. We're gonna wrap it a couple times. And then I'm just gonna trim. Put this aside. How are you doing? I'm excited to go to this party. It'll be fun. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna just tie, not a full knot, but just a loop. And then I'm going to set up my wax seal. I have 2 wax seals that I have prepared, and I think I'm gonna use this one. Wait till you see what this is. So cool. I brought my meditation stones to just act as a placeholder for me so this bottle doesn't roll around. In one of my previous videos, I go through how to make these. I find them to be useful so much just in my wrapping life and my meditation life. So this burner is filled with denatured alcohol. The reason why I use a wax stick with no wick and a burner is because with a burner and burning denatured alcohol, it creates a very hot flame. And so the flame burns and melts the wax beautifully, and the wax gets very hot so that it gives me time to create a puddle large enough for a large wax seal. This is a pretty large wax seal, so we're gonna need a lot of wax. Now, kids, don't do this without parental not parental advice, what is it? Ian, what? Okay, don't do this. Kids, don't do this without parental guidance because it could be very dangerous. All right, so I've created the flame. I'm positioning my ribbon. And we're going to start waxing. Okay, so I'm taking my wax stick. I am turning it so that the whole wax stick and the whole tip is melting. I'm actually looking at this bottle and wondering, this is going to be an experiment and we're going to do this together, because I'm looking at the bottle and looking at the size of my wax sealer, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but you know what, we're going to experiment together. All right, I mean, that's part of having fun together on the Sulip Fix, is a little bit of experiment. And certainly I'm not perfect, right? Who is? Okay, so you can see how I am using this wax stick, melting the tip of the wax. As I'm applying the hot wax on the ribbon on the bottle, it's keeping the wax supple. I'm taking the wax seal, I'm dipping it in a gold ink pad, and then I'm going to apply onto the wax, and let's see what happens. This is all gonna be a mystery. Wait till you see this wax seal. I'm hoping it works. So I'm putting a little bit of pressure. I'm keeping the seal on this melted wax for about 15 seconds, a little bit longer than normal because there's quite a bit of wax here. And we'll see. Wow. Okay, here it is. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn cool. And I'll show this to you. Let me just trim the ribbon. I'm trimming at an angle. This is the result. This actually is a image of this gentleman in his younger years. And so because I dipped this in a gold ink pad first, then I pressed it into the dark wax, it makes this two-toned effect. There we have it, ready to go. There's my seal. When you're going to a party, add a gift tag, the name of who you're giving it to with your name, because as you know, when you go to a party, usually the host is receiving so many bottles at the same time that they have no idea what bottle came from what. And this is a pretty special wine that I want him to know it's from me. I took the time to give it a little zhuzh. We're off to a great party. So, thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.